Greetings and salutations. We are the Vagabond Nerds, and we do know who let the dogs out, but we ain't talking because we know stitches get stitches. It's a beautiful Saturday, and as a reminder, hey, you need some geeky accoutrement? Go talk to Jeremy over at Titan Comics.
Well done.
Just in the doobly-doo.
Well done. Nice. Very nice.
My color-coordinated friends.
Oh, hey, anytime, man. We got the message. Well, me and you did, Sean.
We had
Quickly
to
got the message.
It's it's a little dreary outside today here, so I mean we're feeling blue, right? We're feeling blue.
Feeling
Yes.
blue.
By the way, before we get too far, Sean, please do show the fullness of your attire.
Boom!
Boom!
For those
I'd
of
say-
you who are older than 30,
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
Actually,
there's like two
Maybe
people who
40.
got that one, but it's like, no, we only have one person watching.
given
so
given the Amazon series and the multiple attempts at doing Tick, also what was the other one? Was on Fox, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
or
was on
something?
Fox.
It started
yeah.
on Fox.
Patrick Warburton.
Cartoons
It started on Fox
Yeah.
because they did the live action. The
95?
cartoon started on
Yeah,
Fox.
cartoon.
They did the live action again. I think that was on Fox, and then they
Yeah.
did the most recent live action with 2 seasons on Amazon Prime.
The
Before
fact that it doesn't get a third season pisses me off.
they reluctantly canceled it. Well, not
Yeah.
reluctantly. I mean, shit, we don't know. If
I think it was a money
reluctant.
thing.
They may have just been like, you know what?
Screw it. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was a good solid. Like that was a solid show.
You know
As
what?
far-
This brings up a very good point. And I'm going to just jump right into this because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now.
please do.
Premature cancellations.
I hate when
Now,
that happens. Is there a medication for that?
I know that as you get older, it's more common,
Mhm.
and that's just part of life. But like seriously, look at Amazon Prime. Tick being one of them. Amazon's canceled a bunch of other shows that they've done one season of. They never picked it back up.
Right.
Netflix is terrible for this shit right now.
Yeah.
They canceled Warrior Nun. That's done.
Yeah.
And it's only been 2 seasons. I haven't seen. I'm in the
Sorry,
middle.
Ben.
I'm in the middle of the 2nd season. I haven't gone all the way through it, so I don't know what it ends with. But I think it ends on a cliffhanger. They canceled Umbrella Academy, but they did the right thing, and they said we're going to give Umbrella Academy a final send off of like 4 episodes or something
But
to wrap
to be
it up.
fair with Umbrella Academy, though, they had 3 seasons. There were only 3 books.
Yeah.
Right. So
Don't be to be fair. If they ended season 3 on a cliffhanger, then they're the idiots, and
But
they
they
shouldn't
knew-
have done that.
But they knew that they were going to give them a season to clean up. They knew, like all the creators knew. Netflix had already told them. That one's a little different. It's unlike what you were just saying with Warrior Nun, where end on a cliffhanger, and by the way, let's just kill it. Right. And there's a ton of their shows that
There's
they've
a
done
lot
that
of their shows
Yeah.
that they did like that.
Mhm.
That just it infuriates me. It's like here I am wanting to see what's coming next, and all of a sudden I found out, never mind, we're canceling this. We're done with this. And it's like, you know what? Then you owe it to the people who are paying for your services and paying for your studios and watching these shows to end it on at least a wrapped up note. I mean, sure, you can have the hope and idea that something will come down the road on the next season.
Right.
But so many of their things end on these cliffhangers, and it's the same problem we had in with shows in the 90s that got canceled. Firefly,
Alf.
Alf.
Yeah.
Alf.
Sorry, that one still stinks. For that
Biker
matter,
Biker Mice from
Court.
Mars.
Does anyone remember how Night Court ended?
Yes.
I don't remember how it ended.
I watched that. Yes.
Mole got abducted by aliens. That's how that show ended.
Really?
That's how it ended.
Huh.
Like, it's crazy. Now, they were talking about it because, of course, Night Court's reboot with what's her name from Big Bang Theory. She's now playing
Kaylee.
Harry's
Oh
son.
no.
Daughter.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
shorter one.
yeah.
I can't remember her name, but
I
yes,
can't
I know what
either.
you're talking about.
But
Damn it.
I didn't
I
realize
just
that
saw
was
her
her.
name the other day too.
I loved what a couple of people have said, where it's like nobody needed the show, but oh my god, it's just classic. And I will say there's a couple of shows like that. Like I finally that 90s show came out on Thursday, and
We just started watching it Friday night, and I've seen 2 episodes so far.
can I say that? And I'm the same place with you. And Jason, we won't spoil it for you, even though I'm sure you don't care, but don't want to spoil it for
really.
anybody else.
That's fine.
true. It's
Um,
too new. It's too
too
new
new,
to
yeah.
spoil.
I love the fact that it didn't miss a beat, and more importantly, it didn't have to explain to you what came before. They just said, if you're watching the show, you're already a fan, so we're going to jump right in. I love that.
They did that. They really, and it's very nice to be not, it's not pandering, but you're not over explaining something to an audience. Because you're right, the people who are going to be watching that are the same ones who watched it back when, and they're going to watch this one now. My current take, and it's still early, is I'm nervous because I don't know how this is going to go. So far, I feel like what has held the show up has been the cameos.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching some of the current actors, and don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for the current cast, the current kids, the actors. I want to see those kids make this their own thing. I feel the writing is not. It's not very good for them. It's not very good for them.
I was
It's
thinking about
much better for the adults,
I was thinking about that, and
Give it
I
up.
wonder.
I'm only 2 episodes in. So
as am I.
There's room
As
for
am I.
improvement. There's always room
Yeah.
for improvement, and I am still actively rooting for that improvement.
I think they had to do that to show that link between. If they continue to show the link between them, however, they continue to bring back the past, then it's really more about them than it does become about these kids.
It's a nostalgia trip.
Yeah, it's like.
And what are you going to do more than one season? It's 10 episodes long. You're never going to have a second season. Don't end on a freaking cliffhanger if that's the way you're going to do this. And I mean, it's just it's much better than that 80s show was. They tried the pilot, and then that thing just tanked the moment it came out.
But because no one was connected to it.
No one was connected to it.
Yeah.
No one was now this has a connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, they even kept the theme song. They just updated it for the 90s,
which I kind of liked.
I did as well. I was like, that's cute. I like this. Don't get me wrong. It has potential. And my wife is laughing her ass off the entire time we watched it, and I'm laughing at some things as well. But maybe I'm just a little cynical. Maybe I am cynical.
Yeah, I was about to say little.
Seeing how the kids from that 70s show grew up and really, like, true to life, start to mimic their parents a bit was, to me, I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Like that's.
Oh, Eric, my foot in your ass.
No.
That's not a big. Anyway, that clip has been out there. Like that.
It's been out there. It's already a preview. It's already been out there. Yeah. I will say that the casting for Eric and Donna's kid and Kelso and Jackie's kid,
spot on.
Perfect. I think they are so believable, even though they don't look. They don't look like. I don't look at them and go, okay, yes, you're definitely their child. But you look at them and you're like, hey, man, that's close enough to be certainly believable. So, I'm obviously a little bit excited for it because here I am talking about it, even though I'm being a little bit cautious in my optimism. But I am optimistic, and I do want to see where this goes. But we're only going to watch it like one episode at a time just to see how it turns out. I recently watched the episode of Big Bang where Sheldon mentioned to Amy, should I start watching the Flash TV series? And she ridiculed him for asking that on their 5th anniversary date. And he goes, this is a big deal for me because if I start a series, I'm in it for the long haul, even when it takes a downturn. And I heard him say that, and I immediately got that image in my head of Leonardo DiCaprio with the cigarette in his hands doing the pointing at the thing. because I was like,
Yeah.
I feel identified now, because that's how I am with a lot of these series, is I will hunker down and watch the entire thing. So
Right.
you know,
And
That's funny.
it's exactly that's the problem I have too. Is like even in the Flash right now sucks. Like the
I
past two
haven't seen.
seasons,
Yeah.
I
the
haven't
past
seen
2 to
it
3
since zero.
seasons have been horrible. And
I stopped watching it before the big crossover happened, and then I watched the crossover because you guys told me, no, you should watch it. You should watch it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the crossover. And then I haven't watched it since the crossover.
And you're better off for it. You're
man.
better for
it's
it.
years. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a horrible thing that you do that. We were at one of the conventions where John Wesley Shipp, who plays his father and then plays Jay Garrick and everything else, and me and the daughter were talking to him. We were like, yeah, it's we love the first couple of seasons, and without missing a beat. And I hope I'm like anyone's listening, but John Wesley Shipp goes, yeah, those first 3 seasons were really well written. And doesn't say jack about anything else.
That's
Me and Zoe
funny.
were just laughing. We're like, yeah, we get it.
Yep.
He didn't bash it or anything. He just really commented on the fact that the first 3 seasons were done as well as they were. We were just like, yeah, it's about sounds about right. Season 4 is kind of where we all started like, ugh. Now you got this last season coming up. It looks promising. I think they're going to try to go out on a bang. That's what they did with Arrow. You can't count season 7 of Arrow because that was to tie into the whole Infinite Crisis thing, which sucked.
Yeah.
But season 6, when they thought that was going to be his last season, I mean, they wrote that season.
They did.
That was a perfectly well-written season.
It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah, I was surprised at how good it was.
Arrow was we were all the way through on Arrow. I mean, the whole way through, but also mainly because I forget the lead actor's name.
Emil.
Stephen Emil.
Stephen, yeah, mainly because he's freaking eye candy. The dude's gorgeous.
That's true.
It is.
So
I can't deny that.
And he can act.
Yes, he can.
He can act, and he's gorgeous, and he's not just acting in campy WB fashion, although it fit the role. Mm-hmm. So that I mean, just like Grant Gustin is absolutely Barry. I mean, he's the Flash, and I think he really does embody him as well. But that shows
who's really quick rumored. He's rumored to be in the movie, the upcoming movie.
We've talked about that before, though. That's not a big surprise for us. That's not a revelation.
It's not a big surprise. What was a big surprise is they say he plays a bigger part than anyone realizes. Now, how true that is, who knows, right?
Because they already had what's his face from the movies show up in the Infinite Crisis. They had him. Yeah. Ezra Miller showed up in that, so you were like, mind blown. Brain pants down, mind blown.
And that's the latest rumor. That's a good segue that we just did, and I didn't mean to do it on purpose, unfortunately. So there's talk around Warner Brothers that they're going to keep Ezra Miller, right? And like they're saying like he's really working on it, blah blah blah. We know he's a little cuckoo, and but we think that he's going to be staying on, and okay, that's fine. Where I'm sitting there thinking, you end this freaking if you're taking a page out of Flashpoint. I loved the series where he ends up taking a letter back to Bruce from his father. Granted, it's a different situation because Flashpoint, he had to get Batman's help, who, because he messed up the timeline, is actually Thomas Wayne and not Bruce.
Not Bruce Wayne, right?
And Martha Wayne is the Joker.
I did love that. I did love that twist because his Wayne, I mean, his Batman was just so much more.
Yeah,
and it was way more 1950s film noir with the 245s and just it was a very interesting spin on that character, which I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that time, man. I would say end it with him taking something to Bruce, whatever it is, and Bruce is sitting there reading it, starting to tear up, and he's like, "Barry, you're the best ever."
Do you want it to be Affleck, or do you want it to be somebody else?
Don't even care. Don't even care, right?
Just a no name?
Just Batman receiving whatever he's going to receive. Same scene from that comic book where he pulls his cowl back and he's in tears a little bit.
Batman doesn't seem like a receiver to me. I think he's a pitcher.
He's a receiver from time to time. So Hey, you know what? He's LGBT.
Maybe where Wonder Woman's concerned. I mean, I
don't know.
guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. She could
But
have that
anyway,
whole Happy Women's Empowerment Day.
yeah, there
and,
you go.
You know,
So
Yeah.
so he's a little bit teary, but he says, "Thank you, Barry." And I want the movie to end with Barry just he pulls back his cow and he goes, "You're welcome," but it's Gustin.
It's Grant Gustin.
I would love for it to be and just us knowing going forward that this new whatever that Gunn has planned out for the DCU, it involves Grant because I think again, like you said, he is Barry Allen. He is the Flash, and
but even with that, I mean, Ezra Miller in the movie as the Flash, he was phenomenal as well, and I felt like it was a good part for him. I get that he's a nutcase, and I mean, there's plenty of talented people out there who go through nutcase shit.
Yes.
And we as the public get to judge them in all of our armchair quarterback glory. But, this is an unfortunate episode that he's going through. It just happens to be on a world stage. We can only judge what we're allowed to judge. And then, well, actually, none of us should judge anybody, to be honest, if we're going to go back to, judge not lest ye be judged. But I mean, we're not perfect. Neither is he. Sometimes the people with more money who aren't perfect have the ability to make way more mistakes than any of us could because they have the ability to do so.
So are you talking about second chances? Those don't exist anymore, man. Cancel culture communities.
Those do exist, and we need to be more understanding of the fact that not everybody's perfect right out of the womb. It's just not.
Jason,
it's not that way.
Jason,
what?
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Whatever, dude. Okay, you had original sin.
Yes.
You're fine.
Yeah.
The patriarchy creating the religion to blame women from the beginning. It's your fault you ate that quince, you bitch.
And he actually, God blames Adam, but whatever. That's the point. Is I agree with you that they're like second chances. We should have second chances. The only thing I have with and Ray and I were actually talking about this week. Robert Downey Jr. is a great example of this.
Mm-hmm.
My one caveat on, particularly when it comes to Miller, though, is Robert Downey Jr. was tried in a court of law. He made restitution and he worked his way back into good graces. Right? It's like Wesley Snipes, same thing. Like Wesley, I feel with what you're trying to do, taxation is theft, but you still got to pay your taxes. But he did what he did his time. He made the restitution was made, and he worked his way back. I'm happy with second chances. My problem with Miller is these are not. He had opinions that Hollywood doesn't like or piss somebody off. These are legitimate crimes that he's accused of committing, and there needs to be that resolution, and then he can work. Then he can work his way back.
If no one's pressing charges, though.
Which is and that's a good point. That's a good point. If no one's which I understand is still kind of BS. If no one's pressing charges, then no one has a problem with it. But you're absolutely right, though, Jason. Just like Wesley committed tax evasion, right? If Miller has,
what'd you get sent to prison for? Tax evasion. No, really.
If always bet on black. If they end up. If someone ends up charging him, if he ends up being prosecuted for his crimes, then absolutely, man, you gotta do the time. That's what happens. If you play, you pay. It's the same way. That's how it is. I mean, take responsibility for your actions. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's just the public persecution and judgment from everybody without actually having been in this individual's shoes. That is what's exhausting. Because it's just like, oh my God. Like, I still agree that the dude did some wrong shit. And I'm not saying that he's a great person or that, he should be exalted on high for being a celebrity. But I do think that there are other people who aren't celebrities that have done the same shit or way less shit, and they get less shit from other people about doing that shit. So.
I think about the only thing that's not probably a forgivable action. We'll say you can have a second chance once you've been castrated, but any type of pedophilia, you're out. Like, I think you should be out. Sorry. I know I'm not saying that you can't be forgiven in the long run if you're changing your ways or whatever. I'm just saying if you're doing it with the castration or glue, I don't care.
That's
right,
a
but you're done.
that's a
Yeah.
By the
fair
way,
point.
no correlation to this. Hi, Edgar.
Yeah, I was like, I was gonna pop it. I was gonna pop his
Thanks for
thing up
stopping
just
by,
real quick. And
Edgar.
I'm like,
Very sorry about the mention,
like,
dude.
yeah, I'm like, the longer this kept going, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't put that up there
I thought
because,
so too, and I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's do it. Like again,
Yeah,
no
might as
correlation
well.
whatsoever.
Yeah,
But seriously, I do
Yeah.
think that that's the one thing that I have a hard time. Like with oh my gosh, the big actor House of Cards, Kevin Spacey.
Spacey. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do have a hard time watching him in any of his movies, which sucks because I love the Usual Suspects.
yeah.
Oh, that's a great.
And he was
And,
great.
you
in
know,
and
Batman
he's a good
Superman
actor. He's a
Returns.
good actor.
Keep-
I just have a hard time
let's-
watching him now.
Keep this in mind, and this is something to always remember: is that people change as they get older, and people make mistakes no matter what age they are. There's always the hope and the possibility that during his time in that movie or other movies that you watched and enjoyed, he wasn't engaging in those activities for which he currently is a bag of shit, right? And that's something to remind ourselves with. And that's another thing is when somebody's done something wrong, it doesn't mean they did so, straight out of the box being like, I can't wait to be as nefarious as I possibly could, or as I possibly can. They did it because they thought they could, or they desired it, and they were above everything else. And so they do it. You're no longer bound by these rules.
Well,
when
and
you
money,
have that
money
much
and power and fame are corrupting within themselves.
and that's they can be. Yes, they absolutely can be. And so that's the thing is, you get freedom is an amazing thing. It's just none of us really realize how freeing freedom is when you literally can do basically whatever you want, because money is freedom. Let's be honest. If you have enough money, you're fine. You can do whatever you want to do. That's freedom. And when you get to that point, your deepest, darkest desires can come out. And if you're not in control of those things, which look, we all have them, we all have deepest, darkest desires. Doesn't matter who they are. The second episode of that 90s show proved that when Kitty walks into the the priest in the video store. So everybody's got their own deepest, darkest desires.
That's not holy at all.
If you have to put yourself in that person's shoes. You don't know what you would do with that amount of money and that amount of crazy and that amount of support. Because if you're just surrounded by yes men, it can go that way for you. So, or yes women, yes people, yes persons, yes thems, theys, ergots, whatever. I don't give a shit.
When it comes to doing the show, we are not on top of things at all. We love coming back 2 weeks later. I realize I've had some actual, I'm not even kidding about this. Don't ask me how I know. Just know that I did. I had information about something about Yellowstone that broke yesterday that I knew 3 days in advance. That's how on top of stuff we are. That's actually just how weird and unlucky that we do things. But the new spinoff recently got Dennis Quaid in there. I knew that 3 days prior to them announcing it. Kicking myself for not at least doing something on Facebook by going, guess what, guys?
Yeah.
So I know, it's random. Just wanted to bring that up. And
are you friends with the Quaids? Like, what happened? I don't understand.
I won't say because I don't want to get the person in trouble. I do have a back outlet, and it was just one of those things, and it was fantastic because I was like, oh my god, and I was sitting there seeing. I can't even say what was going on.
It doesn't. But it's fine. It doesn't matter.
The bottom line was that I knew about this, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and I thought everyone already knew about it. And like I see yesterday, it starts dropping. Dennis Quaid's now on the Yellowstone spinoff. I was like, "Hey, wait a minute! I already knew that."
Wait a minute, man!
Wait a minute, man!
Are they? Is this the last season of Yellowstone?
This is a spinoff. I don't know if Yellowstone.
No, not that.
I don't know I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I don't know.
He's not that well connected.
I do know that Netflix went ahead and said that this is the last season for Cobra Kai, which
good.
That's exactly what I said. I saw all these people online going, "Oh my god, who could you?" I'm like, no.
End it.
End it now. Honestly, let it go out on a high note. So I was happy to actually hear that.
Would have been happy if it had ended 2 seasons ago.
I liked last season.
What I mean was if they had done it in such a way that they could have ended it 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
They've kind of done a little bit of. Anyways, we're not fully caught up. My wife has got to the point where she feels like it's too cheesy. And I'm like, you saw. I mean, this is cheese.
What
The
you
whole thing
signed
is
up for,
cheese.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the
It's a
Karate
cheese.
Kid. This is
a cheese pizza. And who are you to talk? You got a black belt in karate. Like, this should be your swan song of a show. You should be watching.
Who
this.
does? I don't.
My
And
wife
neither
does.
does the guy beside me.
My wife does. My wife has a black belt in karate.
That's
Oh.
right. That's right.
And that's why
and
I'm
my
like,
brown
this-
belt is
this
in Taekwondo.
And that's why you're the wife.
There you go.
There you go.
Huh?
What?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But no,
I'm gonna do the dishes later, so I guess that's fine. But I'm also gonna fix the chainsaw, so piss off.
It's a balance. It's a
again,
balance. of things.
we've talked about this. You're more Hispanic than I am.
And so by the way, it's too bad Don's not here, but as of the new year, this is actually a legitimate old fashioned. It's got a real. It's got bitters, it's got aromatics, it's got an actual orange rind in it. This is legitimate, and simple syrup that I made myself. This is
really?
That
this
is
actually an old fashioned.
that is becoming my favorite drink the older I get. That's usually what I get
Really?
wherever I'm going. And then I start judging them if they make it bad. Oh, would you like another one, sir? No, absolutely not. This is crap.
Yeah.
Because people charge you a lot of money for an old fashioned, and if they're not going to make it right, then they shouldn't be doing it.
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is your drinking tip, brought to you today by Sean. To alcoholics everywhere.
Yeah.
Speaking
of alcohol,
can I get the more you drink rainbow going across the thing? You're doing it.
The
do
more
it under like do it over this this completely this liver that's just solidified from sclerosis.
Just
it's
a
like
rock.
shipping
Just a rock.
sclerotic liver.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I will work on that.
The more you drink, dun, 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 bleh, at the end.
Or a passed out guy, like right there at the bottom of the rainbow.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah.
Bottle in hand.
Anyway, speaking of alcoholics and Ty Sheridan, who did Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
More importantly, now to me, right? Tulsa King, which
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, I watched the first episode with Christy last night. Loved it.
I still have not seen this. I don't have Paramount. Is it Paramount Plus?
Yeah,
I think it is Paramount Plus.
It is Paramount Plus because we have Peacock. I can't watch it. I would love to. I think season 2 might be its ending season.
But for this show, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope they don't go more than 2 or 3 seasons. Like that's.
Well, I'm just saying I don't know that they can. Right?
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. I don't want to spoil anything on it, but I will say, season 2 is a very strong possibility, and I hope they don't go to like a season 4. Like I think season 3 should be max, right? Just because it's only 10 episodes per season. But this season has absolutely led into, a carryover into another season for sure. But I will say, and this isn't a spoiler, Sean, right? Like I'm saying it, so it's not. The thing I loved most about the first season had nothing to do with the writing. It had to do with the fact that he's not playing a 65-year-old. He's not playing a 55-year-old. He's playing his age. And they even bring that out. And I love the fact that he is 75. Okay. Because they're not hiding it. They're not like whatever. They're just like, he's a 75-year-old you wouldn't really want to mess with.
Yeah.
And that's how they play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like they
Fair
focus
enough.
on they don't focus on it, but it is.
They do. For that first episode, they kind of do focus on the age.
Yeah. Well, for the first part of it, it's just about the amount of time. It's the sacrifice. It's these things. But then they address it very strong. It's like, nope, he is 75. I was floored
that they did that. Like I was literally shocked. I was like, did they actually just say 75?
Yeah. Because he doesn't really look 75. Like, I mean,
because he kind of does. It's just the steroids.
It's his face.
It's the steroids. That's what I'm saying.
Face. Yeah, he's
got those like
75.
Yeah, those super deep lines. But that's also a side effect of the anabolic steroids. Is it does this weird thing where it just
But the show works. I've finished it already. The first season, the show works. And it's interesting to take a show and do it in Oklahoma as your backdrop.
Which and let it be Oklahoma. Like I'm only the first episode in, but I was like, this is actually Oklahoma. This is legitimately. It isn't that BS, like when you get Texas and they're like, it's Dallas, and then everything's a friggin' flat prairie, and you've got
there's a horse going by.
There's a horse going by, and you're like, where the hell are you people?
Yeah,
or like the Lone Star 911 Lone Star, where they're driving from New York into Texas, and it's like they're coming across a desert. I'm like, did you stop in California first? What the hell?
There's no desert between New York and Texas
at all.
Like there's a few flat lands, but there's
a rest stop called
desert.
There's a rest stop called Oklahoma, but you don't actually go through there.
It's just like that song by Reverend Horton Heat. There's no saguaro in Texas, which is another thing people get wrong all the time. The little cactuses. There's ain't no saguaro in Texas. Those are all.
No, there aren't.
That's out in California and Arizona and.
Maybe as far as western New Mexico.
The only cactus. Well, I said actually I'm probably wrong about that, and I don't want to offend a whole bunch of botanists, but the most thing that is going to show up in Texas.
Oh my God! You get canceled by botanists. What would be the?
It's going to be prickly pear cactus.
Yeah, prickly pear.
Listen, man, botanists are relentless, dude. I don't know if you know this, but they stick things out. I mean. Have you seen how many cruciferous vegetables they were able to make out of just a wild cabbage?
Yeah, crazy, dude. He's not wrong, man. You don't want to piss off the botanists. Although there are other cactus, but you're right. The most prominent is
you got broccoli. You've got the cauliflower. Like they did.
Dude, they changed carrots. Plant. Yeah, they created an entirely new color.
You know what? There's also plants in Tulsa King.
Botanists are insane.
Yes.
Let me just say, and I bet they know how to party.
I mean,
they're never really invited to those kinds of parties, but they would. They would.
What kind of parties are you going to?
I bet they know how to party, man.
Just saying. Tulsa King.
Tulsa King loved it.
And you're going to continue to love it. I finished the whole series. It's fantastic, or at least the season.
Again, I don't want to leave, but
I'm not.
I love the bartender so far.
Yeah, just shut up. Yeah,
I'm stopping there. But yeah, I love the bartender. It was like. That's a character right there.
The other show that I finished, and this has been out for longer than that, but I think it's timely, has to be Mayor of Kingstown, however you want to say it.
Well, that may be completely finished.
Yeah.
So, no, because season 2 is already in the bucket. That gets released later. Next week. But
that's
you're right. That could be a show.
That may be a show that's finished.
That's done after season 2 because of the horrible tragedy.
Man. What a start to a year.
Yeah. I've seen the same thing.
Rough. Personally, and just watching everything else, man. Golly, man. So he has that accident.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner gets run over by his own freaking snowplow.
I almost wanted to sit there and say before they had released everything else, I was like, wow, man, were you going for a Darwin Award? But turns out the snowplow was headed towards one of his family members' car.
He tried to jump in and
stop it from because there were family members in the car.
Right. Okay, so now that makes sense. Again, this is one of those times I will say, guys, to the one person watching the show, please do not chase after a car that if you've left it and it's start rolling. Again, unless there's one of these situations where a human life is in imminent danger. Mm-hmm. Do not chase after that car under any circumstances. I had a friend growing up that she was in high school. She was at the library before they built up all that stuff over there, Ray. And she'd parked her minivan that she was driving, and she was going to the library to tutor, and she hadn't set the emergency brake and started rolling down. She tried to hop in and she got caught and drug underneath it and drug across the entire parking lot. This is something that happens a lot. People, it's like you gotta just, unless there is another human life that is in imminent danger, please just let it roll. Insurance can take care of things. Things can be fixed. Items can be replaced. You cannot be.
Yeah. He's going to be living with this for a while. Like the fact that he's alive.
The fact that Renner's just alive after this is insane. I mean, it was a 14,000-pound machine that ran over him. They said it crushed it crushed his entire side of his torso, destroyed his leg.
Which he may still
lose. Yeah.
Because they don't know yet. They don't know yet, right? The
Yeah.
body's a natural healing bit's got to kick in, but they released him as of yesterday to go back home. So he's home, but he's going to have to probably go back to the hospital after a few weeks to do his other surgery on his leg. They've done 2, I think, so far, and like you said, who knows if he even keeps it at this point.
This is he has a very long road ahead of him.
Yeah, which I mean, you know what? All things considered, I'm glad that he's still here. You know what I mean? It sucks.
Of course.
But it's at least he's not dead. Do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure his family and everybody thinks the same thing. It's just that, like, I don't know. It's crazy that it's so crazy that happened. It's nuts, man.
You had him. You had DeMar Hamlin from Buffalo Bills. If you've watched that play, because I think that's probably
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
I have.
It's a normal play. It's a normal football
But he
play.
takes like a head to the chest, though, doesn't he? What happens to him?
No, he takes a shoulder pad to the chest.
Okay. Yeah.
He stands up, walks one step, locks up, falls over, and let's not, beat around the bush about it. He died. At that point in time, he's dead. Heart stopped. And it was literally that thing that they talk about where if you get hit right at the right pressure,
at the right
moment, in between heartbeats,
that is the current theory. They have not announced that was what happened. That's just the theory.
It's a strong theory for it. There's been no
possibility because I think they've mentioned that this is doctors have hypothesized or theorized that this is a possibility because of the function of the heart, and that means scientists. I think they know a thing or two.
But they still haven't determined that was actually the cause. So it's like I'm just saying we don't know that that's what happened here.
How are you ever going to, unless you be like, okay, well, let's try this again?
Yeah.
Could you just do us a favor and hold still?
Right. Exactly. Well,
we're gonna punch you.
It is very rare for someone of his age. I mean, he's still on the younger side, but he's sort of past the age where that stuff happens. But weird things happen all the time.
He is He's a healthy individual. He was healthy going in. It was just a fluke accident. It is a reminder that football's still a, it's not a blood sport, but I mean, it is a full contact sport.
Hey, there was a guy.
I mean, you get bloody doing it sometimes. They try not to, but you do sometimes.
I mean, people do get injured. Again, as far as freak accidents go, there was a sparring match a friend of mine was at. He wasn't directly involved, but they were. But
is Jason going through the? I had a friend who knew a friend that did this. Right now?
Listen,
don't one up DeMar Hamlin, man. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You go back and you see it's a dangerous sport, no matter how you slice it, and no matter how much protective equipment you wear. Was it Theismann? Who's the guy that broke he just folded his knee back?
Yeah,
plenty of them. But if you're talking about
that one where the guy came across and just crunch, and you see his leg go, and he just dropped. It's like,
well, look at Dak Prescott when they showed his foot.
Oh yeah,
just went sideways.
Completely.
So that's the thing is, no matter how cautious you are, and no matter how tentative you are to your well-being with pads and with helmets and with whatever, guys are still in getting concussions. They're still walking away from this with life-altering effects, and it's all in the name of satisfying the nationwide crowd of just like, yay, football. And
it's the modern day gladiators.
Yeah.
And and honestly, I don't understand why it's such a modern day gladiators, because it's so boring.
See, Sean, that's you, and that's okay. Jason knows that it happened in a sport. He doesn't know it was football.
I do know
it's okay. And I only bring it up though to say this though. He's made just about a full recovery as could be, and that's fantastic.
That's good. That's good. No,
we're talking 2 weeks ago. It's fantastic.
I don't mean to belittle his trauma with my distaste for the sport. I just think that, you know what, if you're gonna idolize a sport, nothing I like better than watching 22 millionaires throw around a ball full of air on a freaking fake field for 4.5 hours. Like, come on, man.
You'd rather watch them on ice?
They're not millionaires on ice. Thanks. Appreciate that. That's the lowest paid. Still, they may
No,
be.
it's not. That is
They may
well,
be.
that's
They
American
may be.
soccer. Let me rephrase
They
that.
may be. But if you're looking at hockey, that's one of the lowest paid sports.
I
Mhm.
bet you the WNBA will say otherwise. I'm
That's
just saying,
true.
man.
Yeah,
I'm
That's
pretty
true.
sure they're going to disagree with you.
But you know what? I
That's
said
fair.
sports, and when I meant sports, I meant the
Oh,
actual sport.
sports.
No. I meant that sport, hockey. I didn't
Yeah.
mean sports as in
overall,
men versus
yes,
women.
overall in
right?
hockey,
Yeah, we know.
That's what I meant. I
the
did not
average
mean
is
men
the
versus
average
women.
is lower. The
Yeah.
Sports
average is
meant that sport, not Ray. Unlike you, I don't see gender. I don't see race. I'm just everyone's everyone, man.
lower.
He just sees class.
I see it all.
Yeah, that's right. How's your
I
moat
see it
doing,
all.
you bastard?
Yeah.
It's probably dirty right now, honestly.
Just saying.
No one's gonna get that. They shouldn't.
No one's
You're an
gonna get
asshole for it, but I love it.
that. Oh man,
Anyway,
I love you, Sean.
I love you too, man.
So did we all watch? And this is probably the bigger topic. Did we all watch Last of Us?
Before we move on from the tragedy that it was, can I just say, rest in peace, Ken Block. I was a big fan of Ken Block.
Oh.
I know you guys weren't
not so much.
necessarily,
Yeah.
but that is a huge loss to, well, I mean, to the world, to his family, to his friends, to everybody. But still, like the dude was so positive and so cool and so interesting and so fun and so, I don't know, just. There was like a light around him, and I think everybody felt it too. So it's a real shame that another snow-related incident as well, which was crazy. So yeah, it was a rough start to this year.
Jeff
for sure.
Jeff Beck this year as well.
Yeah.
Jeff Beck this year as well. Yeah, Jeff Beck this year as well.
Lisa
yeah.
Marie Presley, though, I don't think any of us really care about that one per se.
Well,
but-
I mean, this is the problem.
Not that we don't
so-
care
so
because she's a
stop
human
there.
being, but
My problem with this though is how they treated her, because when your headlines start reading "daughter of" instead of just Lisa Marie Presley, I did have an issue with that. Now, do I think that maybe musically was there as much contributing as what her father did? No, she did have 3 albums, but still, she had every right to stand on her own as a person of who she is without having to say Elvis Presley's daughter has died. Not even Lisa Marie has passed. Daughter of, but literally Elvis Presley's daughter has passed.
It was Elvis Presley's daughter, comma Lisa Marie Presley, comma.
It was just not even on all of them. Some of them
some of them just said Elvis
like
Presley's daughter dies.
No, I agree with Ray on this one. I think he's 100% right.
I understand that, but not everybody. Lisa Marie was not super famous. Yeah. So how are you going to display her name to everybody when your father is Elvis? Let's be realistic.
She did marry the biggest pop star of all time
for like 6 months.
Well, maybe
minutes, and everybody knew, and everybody anywho, right?
Also, Nick Cage.
Now that
I didn't even know that. I
was more surprised at that than I was. I didn't realize they were married either. Again, the only reason that anybody knew she married Michael Jackson was because it was Michael
Jackson. Yeah.
So basically, you've got Michael Jackson, the king of pop, right? And then you've got Elvis. It's like she married the kings of not married, but she was born of the king of rock, and she married the king of pop for a little while. It doesn't mean that she was a severely talented person, and I think that's okay. That's not a slam on her. That's okay that she wasn't like this amazing talented person. Now, then again, who knows? Maybe she was, and maybe she could never get out of the shadow of her father. I don't know. I never met her personally. It's a shame she's deceased. But how is a news media going to, and I'm going to say it this way, market somebody's death so that everybody knows who it is? Because let's face it, that's what it is. It's marketing. How do I explain that Lisa Marie Presley is dead? Well, the way I market it is by saying daughter of Elvis. Yeah. And that's the shitty side of things. It shouldn't be that way, but that's what the media is, man.
There
That's
were
what
a
they're
couple of
marketing.
articles.
They're marketers. That's all they do.
There were a couple of articles that talked more about Elvis's contribution, and then his daughter has passed as well, and then like that was it.
Right.
There was one that I read that was absolutely phenomenal to talk about her and leave her father outside of it, and a lot of it was her charitable contributions and her involvement in charities, which turned out to be quite a lot. It's kind of like the first time you find out that Kim Kardashian actually does do a lot of legal
she's got a
charity
law degree?
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just kind of blows your mind on that.
Yeah, well, it's because normally she just blows other things, but that totally blows my mind. Hold on. So, you don't happen to remember where that article was for Lisa Marie? Because honestly,
I don't.
That's the type of article I would like to read. Is to hear about her and what she did, not just that she's.
And it might have even been.
Daughter.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have even been either The Verve or Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone usually does a decent job about not just.
Yeah, I'll give.
They went on. They were talking about her 3 CDs, the kind of sound she had. Then they started talking about her charitable work, what she'd been doing. I think they dedicated one sentence to Elvis, which was the small aside scene.
Yeah, almost everything was about Elvis or something else.
Yeah, but they did that writer, whoever wrote that bit or the article itself, was just focused on the subject matter at hand, with no other tie-ins.
Good.
And I was really happy to read an article like that.
At least somebody did that, and I'm happy that somebody did that for her. When you say it, but I just want to say, when you say it's a shame, it is a shame. But we know what reality is, and reality is that she wasn't as popular. She was popular to the people that she was popular with.
Yep.
And so the folks who miss her are the ones, that miss her because they connected with her. That doesn't mean that the world connected with her. So instead, the news media goes, you know what? We can capitalize on this by saying Elvis's daughter is dead.
Right.
And now everyone can put forward an article, and everybody can make some money off of it, and it's all the great beast that is capitalism. And holy fuck, that sucks.
Yeah. Also, another death. I was looking because there was 2 other big deaths. One was the illustrator for like Dennis the Menace and a bunch of others. But
really?
David Crosby, yeah. But he was in the 70s. But David Crosby just passed.
2 days ago?
Yeah, just like 2 days
or
ago.
yesterday.
No, it was like 2 or 3 days ago.
It was 2. It was like 2, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was right. It was just like, it was Thursday, Wednesday. It was right around there. Yeah, it was close. Yeah. So, but you know what? Not to say that it's not a shame that he's gone, but a good long life. What? Yeah. He was 70 something. Yeah,
he was 70 something. Yeah.
Same as Jeff Beck, in my opinion. Jeff Beck, amazing guitarist. The dude, Jesus.
I think he was actually 80, wasn't he?
David Sutherland. That's who I was looking for. I finally found him. David's Scottish illustrator.
Scott, okay. Oh yeah, for Dennis the Menace. Jeff Beck was the dude knew how to make a guitar expressive. And that's the craziest thing ever, is to hear, like, he's very niche. He has a specific thing that he does when he plays, and he mastered that one thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be something that everybody wanted to do. It wasn't going to be something that like started a whole genre. It was just going to be something that he loved to do and that connected with a lot of people. And his ability to be expressive on that instrument was unparalleled.
Yeah.
So I definitely, but he lived a good long life. I don't remember. I didn't see what the cause of death was. I don't remember any of that stuff. I just heard that he died, but his music lives on, you know what I mean? That's the thing. And just like Lisa Marie Presley, like musicians, their contributions will live on in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Just forever. That's the greatest thing they can leave behind, you know.
I was a fan of his whenever he would do instrumentals on his albums. Those were always fantastic. You just listen to the guitar just go, man. And it was, I was going to sit there and say, I know what it reminds me of. I was like, it reminds me of Jeff Beck because he had a style.
Nobody else was like Jeff Beck, man. He was a one of a kind, and that's why it was so cool. Yeah. He made his own niche. He made his own genre. Nobody else fills that slot. It's just Jeff Beck. So, now that he's gone, I mean, you're gonna. I bet you money that the capitalistic machine is going to find somebody to fill that void. Somebody's going to come out and fill that void. Has to.
I hope so. I hope so. It's been a very
even though there's a ton of people who do that because they enjoy doing it. I still think somebody's going to get thrust into the limelight as a result of it.
You're not wrong.
Last of Us. After talking about all that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of horrible things. No, not like horrible.
I know what you mean.
Horrible within the context of the show. Yeah.
Horrible in the context of the show.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm not a big end of the world fan, joyless thing kind of thing, but I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was, I'm interested for the second episode. That's where I'm at. I want to see where they go with it.
Mr. Guidry, it is good to hear from you, sir. Yes. Fine line between tragedy and travesty. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. But yeah, still, sad to see a few individuals go at the beginning of this year. It is really rough. Last of Us, man. I didn't play these video games or the video game. There was 2. I didn't play them. But so far, having seen the first episode of this adaptation, I would say they are doing the studio of Naughty Dog, who created this thing, justice.
Yeah.
And for all the gamers out there who are like, if it doesn't line up with the game or whatever, if it's an adaptation, the word adaptation, you're not going to take all of it going forward. You're going to take the best parts of it and you're going to work with it. And that's what they've done. And I am happy to say that this is a show that if we did not know of any video game association, if there wasn't a video game that came before it, that I was well vested in it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I honestly, the show just starting out and being what it was, it did itself justice. It doesn't have to be tied to a video game franchise.
No, it really doesn't.
If you are not a fan of, if you don't play video games, if you've never been interested in video games, if the last video game you played was Asteroids on Atari, you could still enjoy this.
That was a very specific pull, and I'm proud of you for it.
Thank you. This is a good show, and oh man, I totally blanked on the dude's name. Pascal.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal.
There's no wrong in anything he does.
There really isn't. He's good.
I'm like trying to find a role that he plays where it's like,
oh man, he's such a fun actor just doing. He does everything. He does drama. He does comedy. He does suspense. He does action. Like, he's done all these things, and he's done a great job. And the little girl in this is, oddly enough, it's really funny because both Pedro Pascal and little girl are both from Game of Thrones.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they were both in Game of Thrones. And so here they are together again. She was the little girl. She played the queen of, she was basically a child queen who inherited the lands because her father or mother, whomever, had died. And so she was the people that this northern tribe looked to, so to speak. Northern Kingdom tribe, whatever you call it. Anyways, what I love about this is that, aside from the fact that it was really good, I enjoy that it's zombies, but it's not zombies.
It's not zombies.
It's not zombie. Yeah.
And I love that. I love the spin on that. It is the opening sequence is so good. The first 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, it's so good. Just that I mean, the set design, the full on orange and brown and yellows, and you're like, sweet Jesus, this is 1960 whatever. And seeing these people,
and he's smoking. They're smoking.
Oh, and they're smoking on TV on set. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I loved that. That was beautifully done. And when we're introduced to the main characters, that was well done. And I love the fact they're like, yeah, this. He was like Travis County. I'm like, wait, oh, hold on, and they actually use real look. I'm like, okay,
Real
this
location.
is real. It's like, hey, that's exactly. They're doing it right. Like
It's Austin.
Yeah, it's Austin, and they didn't like do some bullshit where they're like in the desert, as mentioned earlier. It's like, well, it's Texas, so there's got to be saguaro, cactus and all that crap. No, like that. It's like it was where it was. I was like, okay, I liked this. It was good.
And no matter how long or short a character's presence is, it was felt. And boy, was that a rough. What would that be?
For
First 40 minutes?
Oh yeah.
For the two of you specifically, I was thinking when I was watching this, I was like, Ray and Jason are going to have a moment with this if they watch this, because that was.
But I didn't expect how.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is about to happen.
Right, exactly.
But I was thinking infection. I was not thinking how it happened, and that to me was worse. And you're right. I was like,
you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It was coming. Yeah. Like for whatever reason, you just
the context of the show. Again, I've never played the game.
It's coming.
But something. But you're right. How it happens is such a shock, and
more than likely, the way it would play out.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like you can feel bad because they don't know. And so it's not.
Yeah.
A situation like that wouldn't be considered justifiable, but it would be considered understandable.
For the same reason, you understand why they don't stop on the side of the road and pick up the family in the car next to them. Because 100%. Listen, I was watching that and I'm like,
same thing.
Don't stop. Yep. Keep driving. And I feel bad thinking that, which is why this first episode speaks so well to us as human beings.
For sure.
It's a full-on morality show. This is a full-on morality show. This is an exercise in how far do you go and how much can you take and tolerate, and where do you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and where do you keep yourself guarded.
In an hour,
this is going to be a good series.
In an hour and 20, it achieved what took The Walking Dead a full season.
Yes.
I really do feel that way.
Maybe not the full season, but you're not wrong.
It for sure the first 3 episodes. Like it took it. I do feel like it accomplished what they dragged it out a little bit more, but I feel that they were able to show it in such a way that and again, my favorite season for The Walking Dead was season 2, and then season 4.
I would say though, the aim was different.
It was.
I agree.
Which is why I don't really think you should. I don't think you should reference it that way, because the aim of The Walking Dead, the first season, even the first few episodes, was not to say that we need to take an hour and 20 minutes to get here. That wasn't the point. It's a completely different point. Now, this show did a phenomenal job getting across all of what happened in an hour and 20 minutes. And I think that's what's more important, is they really hammered that home in such a way that you felt it. Like you said, you feel every character who's there, even if they're very small. The guard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still felt him. I was like, dude, I get it.
But understandable. Oh man, he just flipped too. I love him.
Yeah,
flipped, man. I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, and how that, again, everything is earned in this show. At least for this first episode, everything is organic. You understand why everyone's motivation. And I have to admit, this is my favorite thing about the show is the time skip, because almost everything in the zombie genre is like it's set in the first couple days, first couple weeks, first couple.
Or 28 days later.
Or 28 days later, right? But it's in that first early time period. This is like, here's where it strikes. And I love the fact, because it is still 2003 that they're talking about, where it's like, hey,
which I was curious if they were going to. Yeah, I was curious if they were going to update it. And I do love the fact that they kept it in line with the game.
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
That was very...
They centered it on a time point because it was supposed to be that thing. They were like, hey, let's put it in this time zone. Let's box this in, and that way it limits it to think about it from a gaming standpoint.
Oh
Limits
yeah.
it to weapons, limits it to gear, limits it to, like, you put a limit on yourself. When you put a limit on yourself, that means you can work within a confined space. And if you work within a confined space, you can actually do more because
Yes.
you're not just unlimited to whatever you can do.
Right. Well, it
So-
forces you also to be more creative.
But that's my point.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
but not just
Yeah.
forces you, but you can be more creative.
Oh yeah.
If you have an unlimited amount of things to do,
Yeah.
or things to play with, it can be honestly more constrictive.
Oh, it is.
This is odd. When I wrote the intro to this whole
Yeah.
podcast, I honestly said
Really
the
quick,
only thing
again,
the-
best intro to a show that nobody watches. I love
Sorry,
it.
Yes.
there's another F-bomb. This is no longer PG-13. Anyways, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I only gave myself one pedal, and that was a delay pedal. I was like, I'm going to do a delay. Everything else has to come from the amp. And that was it. I've got, you see over here all these pedals that I have that I can mess with. And that's not even all of them. There's a whole ton of them over here on the ground that I've just still left on. Anyways, I limited myself to what I could do. And when I did it, I felt like I was more creative for that fact. And I think the same thing goes for this particular, well, probably for the game as well, for the designers,
Right.
but also for this show and restricting it to early 2000s. I think there's more you can do with that.
It was good, and like I said, man, the whole show was the whole episode, which actually is the first 2 episodes combined.
Yeah.
HBO Max went back and because it was supposed to be a 10 episode run, and they're like, you know what? Let's truncate the first 2 so that it gets you going and it tells everybody.
So they would have ended with his daughter dying.
It would have ended with the scene with them burning.
Oh wow.
When they're cleaning up.
And that's
really?
that would have been a hard scene to end on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and that was really a tough thing because
that was hard.
When she says,
I can't
do it.
Agreed, Mark. Agreed.
Yeah.
And he goes to pick up the child, and it's just like, there's 2 things. One, you knew he was cold because he was like, okay, I'll do it. So he was saving the person beside him. But 2, once his own child, he just was like, what's one more?
Well,
you know, like you nothing else is gonna, like, we just.
His thing was, we've done this. We've done this before. What's your problem?
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Move on.
And it's only. The other thing I love is they don't tell you what he's done. You just know he's not a person to be trifled with.
Yeah, and
because
they make
never
that very
say,
clear.
It's little bitty hints here and there.
I like that word, trifled.
You know,
I'm not a person to be trifled with. That's a good one. I like that.
It's like he probably would actually be like he'd actually probably be a person of much greater prominence, except he's just given up on life,
which
is interesting.
What I also love though with that, Jason, is the subtlety of showing that he's a veteran.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both him and his brother.
Subtle.
Yeah. They don't have to explain it. He gets in the truck. The camera is on the back end of the truck. They show veteran of Desert Storm, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. It just showing a bumper sticker has informed you of how he can do all of this shit.
And what he was doing before. Right. And what he was doing before. Like, it's like the show don't tell. Like this show was so well written. And again, my favorite line in the entire show was, I'm gonna need that bag back.
When he's giving him the
that is my favorite line, because I'm like, that is such a well-written line. That shows they thought through this whole thing, because that's what would happen.
Because you're like, listen, finite resources.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need to give me that back when you're done. Like, just such a good episode.
But I also love when they're interacting with each other at the end, where he's like, all right, half. No, it's free. This is free now. It's like, wow, because it is such a thing. Because even he said, he was like, dude, I told you, don't do this. I warned you not to be out. Now you're out here. And they both understood the positions that they were in. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, but you're kind of just now doing this. I was doing this for a large part of my life, and I'm going to show you what that means. And that's the other thing is like when he's assigned or given Ellie, and she's like, I know who you are. You can get her to where she needs to go to.
Right.
It's such, and he's like, you turned my brother against me. What do I care about you? Like it's that whole back and forth of being in that situation and having the more of a realistic feel to how the interactions would go. Very short sentences, very compact. I don't have to go monologuing to get my point across. I can do it in very in a way that everybody understands and nobody has to ask more for.
Yeah.
There's no fear of getting canceled in this culture.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
No,
You
100%.
You can speak exactly what you need to say because there's a goal. We're not playing with ideas. We're not playing with semantics. We're not playing with philosophies.
Yeah.
We're playing with life and death situations. And it's not even playing with, you're just faced with life and death situations.
Yes.
Because you're faced with that life and death situation, there's no room for placation. There's no room for that. You can't just go, oh, I can pretend this, or I can say this, or we need to be gentle about these things. It's a straight up, listen, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what you need to do. And there's no room for, there's no broaching that. It's exactly what it needs to be. Now, that being said, it is life and death.
Right.
That's why it's life and death. We're not in life and death situations anymore in most of our world, which is why we can, we have these luxuries of being able to debate philosophies, debate different, situations and whether or not people are people or people aren't people or whatever the case may be. It's a luxury. And so we should be thankful that it's a luxury because the people in this show have hard lines they cannot cross.
And which again, go back to the show Don't Tell, the scene the scene just before the burning. And it's like you're paying attention. Again, they show you what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's when it's like that scene, you're like, okay.
You mean the flip of the screen where it's red?
That
scene was hard to watch.
What I loved about that is they didn't explain it. And if you're not paying attention, you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's another thing that you don't see nowadays, which is, hey, guess what? The audience is smart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The audience is smart. Just let them watch it. Let them pick up on it. Let them see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that you got to experience that and just know, like you just knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what informed us to that point was all of the warning signs on the walls as they're doing the montage leading up to that point. Like you see this kid crossing this no-go zone, and these two guys out there messing with a camera, and then one of them runs out and grabs and brings it in, and Lily's like, where did this come from? But in between, there's pictures of, nobody out after dark, curfew's this, curfew's that. You establish the entire feeling of what this zone is, where these people live, and the environment they live in.
Yes.
And then you get to this moment where the kid is in a chair, and she says, it's for your own protection. We don't want you to fall out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
the fact that she's holding his hands.
Oh yeah. And she's like, we got toys, all the toys you can play with. And once she starts talking that, you're like, yeah, we know where they're going. It's like, we
know where this is going.
Once you saw the red.
She goes,
the moment you saw the red on there.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I saw the red, because even her face didn't betray to the kid what she saw on the scanner. She still was like, she acknowledged it, but she didn't acknowledge it to the point where the kid knew what was going to happen. And I think that was the most impressive thing for her as an actress, which, by the way, she's in this one scene.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing her anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, and given the situation from what it looks like the rest of the show is going to be about, she may not ever show up again. But to your point, every character was impacted. Yeah, so did that kid.
Such an impression in this one scene. And, Genesis, look, man, get with the program. I can't help you, bro. I'm sorry.
Wake up, buddy. Wake up.
I don't know what the problem is.
We don't run the algorithms.
I'll tell you what. After we get done with This Is Us, or The Last of Us, then
This Is Us.
This Is
Yeah.
Us, right? That show would have been completely different if it was
It
taken
really
this
would have
page.
been.
Been very, very different had that been.
But we are because we can, Genesis.
Because
we can.
man, we got. You know what? This is why.
Spoon.
That's why. Because spoon.
Ray's
But-
always the little spoon.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
If you,
Why you gotta judge, Jace?
I didn't say I
Genesis,
was judging.
If you need an explanation, it's because when I logged on, these two idiots had blue on, and I was like, well, I guess I better change, and so I put a blue shirt
Sean,
on,
don't-
and that's the
don't-
whole explanation.
Don't
You don't
ruin
need
the
to.
mystique, Sean.
Yeah.
All that.
No one's watching. No one's watching this.
The
Oh, wait.
Last of Us is
Maybe
really
they are.
strong.
Yeah. It's
really
a strong show.
Really liked it.
It's a very.
No, we're
it's a
done.
very-
We're done, Annie. You're good.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. We're not going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
we're
anymore.
done.
We're good. We're good.
But again, watch it. I was very surprised. I was very happy with it. Again, Pascal. I wish that man can do no wrong at this point. I swear.
I will say that the way we're watching it, and I
Mhm.
recommend this to a lot of other folks if you're getting older like we are, we can't watch it on Sunday. Switch from black to blue. Black to blue. That's the way it was. So it's blue on black. Mark,
There you go.
if you want to go that route,
Yeah.
there you go. There's a throwback for you, man. Blue
I
on
love
black,
that
sir.
song.
Now that's all I'm hearing is Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Love that
Anyways,
song.
it comes out Sundays. I cannot watch it Sunday night because I need a palate cleanser after that
Yeah.
show.
Yes.
And
Might I
there-
recommend Call Me Cat?
Oh yeah, you said yeah. Like you
just
said,
I know,
yeah.
so stupid and it's dumb. I love it. Fantastic. Good palate cleanser though.
But I don't have time for a palate cleanser after the show is over on Sunday night because I got to get up tomorrow morning and I got to go to work and hooray, even though going to work is still in the same exact zone.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
No, I get you.
But so we're watching it. We're watching it on Mondays with dinner instead of on Sundays. I highly recommend you do the same because, man, if the first episode is any indication of where the show is going to be as far as tone and as far as feeling at the end, you're going to be drained. And don't go to bed after watching this thing. Just don't. That's
But-
terrible.
But good show. Great.
Good
But very
Great first
amazing.
episode.
Great show. Amazing
Yeah.
show. Highly
Well written,
recommend
well
watching.
acted.
The
Yeah.
Last of Us, HBO Max, highly recommend it. I would love to see 4 seasons of this show.
As long as it's got an end, which they say they do. They say they
Beginning?
will not go.
To end is my point. I would love to see
Yeah.
4 seasons beginning to end. That's
They
it.
said they're
That's what I wanna see.
incorporating 1 and 2, and at most it goes 2 seasons. That's what they're saying. Who knows?
Really?
Who knows? They
I'm
said
okay
they're
with that.
sticking very much to the.
I'm fine
to
with
the
2
game.
seasons.
Yeah.
That would be
So,
very
2
interesting.
seasons would be
That'd
fantastic.
Oh,
Yep.
also, I'm a fan of it's either Anna or Anna. I think it's Anna. Anna Torv, who is the supporting actress in
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah.
She's
Yeah, she is good.
First saw her on Fringe. She's also in Mindhunter, which was on Netflix as well, which is the establishment of the CIA's program for identifying serial killers. So she
Ooh.
definitely has a history in heavy themed shows.
Yeah.
But
I didn't realize it was the girl from Fringe.
yeah,
I didn't
Anna
realize that.
Torv, same girl from Fringe. Yeah, so she was in Fringe. She was in Mindhunter. I feel like there's one other thing she was in, but I can't remember, and I might be wrong about that. Anyways, really good to see her in another show because she's a great actress, and I don't think she gets enough parts.
Yeah.
For America. I mean, shit, she's in New Zealand or she's in Australia. She's Australian, so maybe she gets plenty of parts. Who knows? But keep that in mind. She's Australian, and you'd never know it from the way she talks. Or I fib. She's British. So
No,
she's
no, you had it right.
She's not the prisoner colony of.
No, she
Oh,
is. She was Melbourne.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it.
Oh, okay. So she is.
So you're
all
right. You're
So
right.
She is the prisoner colony. Fair enough. There you go. Why am I the Blue Man Group?
Well, no, we need you to have glasses and headphones to make
I'm
to
not-
comprise.
Now I see. Listen, Genesis, as you well know, you've got to be your own individual. I mean, you've got to be your own person. It has to be. So be you, man. I'll be me, and we'll just keep doing this.
Do you? You know what? We're over an hour, but I do want to touch on one last thing that I think we all saw.
Oh yeah,
or
we're
at
not
least
done yet. There's
at
tons
least
of
I
shit.
saw half of it. But Batman, Superman, Super Sons. All right, Genesis, this is for you.
We're not ending on this, by the way. We're
We're
gonna
not
talk
ending
more.
on this, but
There's
Genesis
no way
is
we're
for you.
ending on this because this is not. Yeah.
Dear DC, I do not need to see the retelling of any origin stories that involve Superman or Batman to open up any of your movies or animated features
Ever.
again. I don't even know why this one was done. It was about the Suns, but yet we get a retelling of, Superman, and I know why they did it, because they wanted to introduce Starro as something that came over on his ship because his dad had one before he sent it, and the Earth went boom. Krypton went boom. It just enough.
I was wondering something like, why are
necessary.
we starting here? And it's like, oh, there's Starro, and you're like, this has
Why?
nothing to do with anything. Like there's 1,000 other ways you could somehow tie this together, but it's Starro. You don't need to tie him into Superman at all.
As the the layman here who doesn't get to read as many comics as the two of you do, or hasn't read as many comics as the two of you do, I would agree with Jason's point on this more than Ray's point on this. Is that not necessarily I don't care to see the origin of anything. It's that the origin itself had no place.
No.
Who gives a shit if Starro is attached to Clark Kent's escape pod? It was pointless. This was not needed. It absolutely could have just been Starro hitting the observatory, and guess what? Shit's getting taken over. There was no reason for that portion because it just wasn't needed. It was ridiculous.
Well, it's like he could have. I mean, a better opening for this. And again, so let me start with. I liked the movie. I think it's well done. But that opening scene my agreement with Raymond here is that
nice.
It's all right. Putting that up.
All right.
Yeah, that's 100%.
But to be fair,
absolutely.
To be fair,
absolutely,
we didn't get to see that. We got to see Superman's origin, and then he just meets Batman. It was like Batman was born Batman. Yeah,
like there's no origin for Batman, which is about to be my other complaint. But it's like if you really want to open with something,
though.
He's not.
It is the point. You only need to see it so many times before you don't need to see it. And the thing was, though, Jason, what you were saying, and this is why I agree with you, is that the Starro connection. There's no need to connect him.
Yeah,
it wasn't needed.
Just
put him in the freaking show and call it a day.
Show, don't tell. Show us Starro destroying a planet and then moving on.
Man. Well worded too, by the way, sir. Pearls bouncing in an alley
in slow motion. But to the worst part, so there's this really interesting. Again, Ray and I think we agree on this. Like, there's this really interesting opening where they have like a comic sort of display. But it's like it's Superman's career. It's like if it's about the Super Sons, right? And this is what this movie's about. How about you give us snippets of Jonathan Kent and like, sure, give us Batman and Superman a little bit, but then show us these kids, right? Mm-hmm. Give us a little leeway because like Damian, they kind of skip over a lot for Damian. I mean, Grant,
who has a much more interesting.
Yeah,
he has a more interesting.
I was being
background.
Facetious, but yes, yeah. Exactly.
It's like Jonathan is forgive the
only reason I remember him from a previous show that they did. I don't even know what it was. I think it was Son of Batman. That's the only reason I remember who he is.
But Damian's tale is told one or two ways. One of three ways. A crazy one night stand with Talia. A scene where Talia rapes him, talking about Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or the third one, he is genetically grown and engineered.
Yeah.
With his DNA and Talia's DNA. You have so much more interesting background and something that you can hold on to finally get to that point but they showed none of it. They just focused on Jonathan, which is, quite frankly, it's pretty standard. I mean, there was nothing extraordinary about him being raised by Clark or Lois.
This thing had all the telltale markers of a coming of age story.
Right.
It just was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. It was a coming of age story, and not for son of Batman, but for son of Superman.
Right.
Right.
So if you're gonna, but to Jason's point earlier, and again, man, I think you hit the nail on the head with this. Is that if you're gonna market it as Battle of Sons, where you're gonna say Superman and Batman, you need to give them equal clout, and equal clout was not given here. They focused all on this was Superman and Lois's son, and that's all it was. And Damian was left in the shadows because the only reason I knew who he was from watching Son of Batman. And I was just like, oh, this is Damian from that. But otherwise, you have zero backstory on him, but you have all the backstory on Superman.
Yeah, I mean, now I will say this: Jonathan being sort of the main focus, I think, does allow Damian to be Damian because let's face it, Damian's an asshole. Like he is, and the way they use him, it allows him to be that enduring asshole. And I love the Bat Cow, by the way. I love the fact that they have the Bat Cow, which is a real character in the comics, and I love he's never explained, or she's never explained.
I'll tell you,
never explained.
My favorite thing though was just he was like, powers are brought to you by the intense situation. Just pushes them off, just like he's done. And I love that because he just sat there and watched him.
They did a good callback too at the end as well, doing that again, where he was just like, boom, off the water tower, and that was nice.
Still can't fly.
Still can't fly. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. It's again, I will say he's well used. He just needed, we needed to know more about him to explain why he is the way he is.
Did you like it? Yes,
I loved it.
I'm just
I thought it was great. I mean, again, not the greatest thing of all time, but I thought it was like, you want to sit down, you want to watch a cartoon, comic book adaptation. It's a solid one. It's got its weak points, but overall, you get what you're paying for on it.
Sean?
I don't know the comic book, so I can't compare it. From an outsider standpoint, it was fun. It was not good.
Yeah.
I watched it.
I've
I
tried
watched
3
it.
or 4 times to finish.
I enjoyed it. Albeit I watched it on a sideline, obviously.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it, and it was enjoyable. It doesn't mean it was good, which people always everybody likes to tangle that together. Just because it's enjoyable, it doesn't mean it's good. Those two things are mutually exclusive.
I'll agree with, not entirely, but I do agree basically, because I mean,
because
I see what you're saying.
It can be bad, and it can be so bad that it's good. Toxic Avenger. It's so bad that it's good.
Yes.
This was just average.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's so bad that it's good. It's and it's a classic. Like, that's the point.
Right. So it's designed to be that way.
Just because something is good or enjoyable doesn't mean it's good. This one, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it, but it wasn't really very good.
I just didn't care for it. None of us have talked about this. I miss the old school art form of how a cartoon was done with legitimate drawing.
Yes.
To get the cartoon effect, right?
Listen.
This computer thing is just. Some of it's nice. Some of it's.
Get off my lawn, kids! With your computers and your whiz bangers.
Easy, Mr. Brady, with your breaking of your voice.
Stop there, David.
There's.
Yeah. Okay. About that.
We're faced with technology. We're going to be faced with technology.
Yeah.
While I wish that everything from this point forward would have the quality and the craftsmanship that Akira had from 19. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. While I wish that everything had the animated quality of Akira from, what was that, like 19? It was either 1988 or 1990.
No.
Is it a
No.
Cure that's about to celebrate their 25th anniversary?
Hold on. I thought it was 30th. Hold on. I gotta look.
Genesis Trigun was still in that really good period of
88.
manual
1988.
drawing.
1988.
I was right. That's what I
Yeah.
said. 1988. So while everything can't be Akira's version of 1988, which was an amazing manual drawing style, which I mean, can you imagine? I'm not going to go into that, but imagine the amount of people that were having to work on this and put this together. They're drawing this by hand. This was not easy. Anyways,
the background paintings, dude. I mean,
we
yeah.
can't, Ray. We can't have that anymore because technology won't allow that anymore. Now, the way I say that is
can, and look at the Star Wars stuff
and that's what I was about to say. Is the way I say that is I mean that you can allow it, but it means the people who are going to do it have to want to do it that way, and a lot of people don't want to do it that way.
And it is more expensive.
So it's this like flashy, slick, sleek, sort of airbrushed design. There's a series on Netflix. It's not Dragon King. It's not Dragon Egg. It's Dragon something. And I wish I could remember it. And I'm sitting here thinking about it. Well, and I think Jason probably knows what it is.
I think I know what you're talking about. But there's a show my son used to watch called Slug Terra. It was not the one. Hold on. I know it's not the one you're thinking of, but what I'm saying is I think this is the same studio that did this. There was this move in the mid 2000s again when my youngest was
Dragon Prince. That's what it is. Yeah. It starts as Dragon Prince. It's got many different terms after that, but Dragon Prince is what I would consider to be current. It is a never-ending debate, by the way, Mark. It is never-ending. Whatever you do is never-ending. Dragon Prince is the epitome of storytelling and current modern animation techniques, because they're taking this airbrush quality that you see, not you, but me. Listen, I don't like it. I don't like the way it's animated. I would prefer it to be animated the way somebody freaking pick up a pencil and draw something, you sloth of a human being. Like, it bugs me. It totally bugs me. And this is somebody who has a few notebooks full of drawings from when I was a kid that I will never show to anybody because just absolutely no. I'm not going to show you anything. Sorry.
Water.
But yeah, that's the thing is like they have to find this balance between what is hand drawn and what is easy to produce. Dragon Prince is a good balance between the two, even though it's still a little too like streamlined for me.
See, for me,
the story is amazing.
What I think is a good balance is Into the Spider-Verse.
Not too far off from Dragon Prince. To be honest with you, not far off at all from Dragon Prince.
Well, I think
it is the same situation. They did a very good job balancing this, like I say airbrush. That's the only term I can think of.
We know what you mean.
You know what I mean? It's like softened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But so I think if I recall, what they did with that.
Trigger. Okay.
Yeah, Spear Trigger is a great one. But if I recall what they did, because the reason it looked that way, Raymond, is they did the CGI scene, but they literally would go and they would animate over that.
Yeah, you're right.
It was still a computer, but it was still a digital thing, but a human being was drawing.
That's like Scanner Darkly or a few of the other shows of that time where they were like
rotoscoping.
That's the term. Yes, thank you, rotoscope. But rotoscope is such a very specific art form, and it is not a hand-drawn. Let's face it, it's not hand-drawn late 1980s, early 1990s anime.
No, it's not. It is a 30s technology, actually.
And I will say that, listen, as far as animated things are, concerned, to me, nothing compares to that era.
I
You
agree
get
with you.
1986 to 1995, 1996, maybe that 10-year span, whatever. The hand-drawn ability and the hand-drawn presentation these folks put together. Studio Ghibli, like, actually, that's the one thing I might argue is Studio Ghibli might still do animation the way it was done
I think
back
they do.
then. However, they have been able to evolve to incorporate a few of the newer techniques, so it does work, But I mean, really, you look back at just those early 90s, mid 90s animes, and they are just impeccable, and that art style is beautiful.
It's just
That was a
going back to
pinnacle.
the day.
That was a pinnacle,
Yeah,
man.
it's going back to the day where they took
Get off my
pride in
lawn.
it. They took pride in it. So
Yeah.
that's what in my day.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's
We used
all
to
it
pick
was.
up a pencil and draw on
But,
paper.
But
I
Don
don't know
Bluth animation though, Don Bluth animation, right? Secret of Nim. You can't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't get
Listen
much
to
better than
you
that.
with the Secret of Nim throwback, man. Oof. Yeah, amazing animation, amazing. That Sword in the Stone.
Yes.
Which is same situation.
Yeah.
That style, and did you know they created a whole online game for that?
No, did not.
Weathering with You. Okay.
All right.
It's
a Genesis.
You need to tell me, Genesis, where can I find that? How about that? Where can all 6 people who watch this podcast, including the 3 of us, find that on some sort of streaming service or whatever? It would be good to know. Oh, damn it. I forgot where I was going to go with this. No, so Sword in the Stone. There was a video game they put together. It was a computer game, and it was during the it was during the floppy disk era of Duke Nukem, the original Duke Nukem. But you could floppy disk put this whole thing in, and it was animated with that. It was that guy who animated Sword in the Stone. It was his animation. And he animated the entire game. Yes, and it was like a choose your adventure style game.
That's me. I was just leaving a note for us because I'm going to forget the title.
You would end up. That's good. You would end up in this. You're in this scene, and it's like, which door do you choose? And you choose a door, and you'd either die, or you'd live, or you'd whatever. And that was this,
like Dragon Slayer.
Like Dragon, that was it. That was it. It was Dragon Slayer. That was it.
Oh, okay. That's
because that's the animation style. Yes, thank you. That was it. Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, Don Bluth did that. I was about to say, like, this sounds like Don Bluth.
That's the one. That's the one.
Okay. And thank you to Limited Run Games for releasing that for the Switch. All 3 of those. It was Dragon Slayer 1, 2. I got it.
Dude.
Oh, did
it's fantastic. And let me tell you, man. Watching the kids play that for the first time, being as frustrated as I was the first time I played that game, was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it would be easy, and it's not.
It's not.
It's a hard game.
Die every time.
And Space Ace, that also came on it.
Oh, yeah, because that was like because I thought they only did 2 Dragon Slayers, and
they did 2 Dragon Slayers, and then
Space Ace. Yeah, he did 3 video games. Although I do kind of have a hard stop.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah,
I kind of didn't expect this to go past 12:30.
We've been talking.
It is 12:40. We've been talking about stuff.
Well, we had a lot of
built up,
pent up nerds. So yeah.
Can I summarize real quick with a few things?
Yes,
Let me
please.
just wrap things up.
Please do.
The Menu. If you haven't watched it, that's on HBO Max.
Oh, let's cover that next time because that is a show within itself.
So if you haven't watched The Menu, you should watch it.
For the next episode, so we're gonna do it.
Mandalorian season 3 is coming.
Fantastic trailer.
Yes. There you go. Yep. And
also broke all the records for Star Wars trailers released.
I saw that. Yes.
Most watched Star Wars trailer.
There you go. Apparently, Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal are doing a Roadhouse remake.
I want to get back to that. That's next show.
Yeah, that's got to be next show.
Wizards of the Coast, we hate you, and stop limiting people's creativity.
Mr. Jason Momoa apparently can play multiple characters in the DCU universe for James Gunn. which is
Lobo, please do.
not just Lobo, but looking at still being Aquaman at the same time.
That
I'm
would
okay
be
with it.
interesting. That would be
And-
I'm okay with
listen,
it.
and
the dude
also
is Lobo incarnate.
Yes, he
also-
is.
Looks like Lobo already.
Also in talks for potentially playing Ben Grimm.
Also, Daredevil, Born Again, coming out. Not sure if Foggy or Karen Page are going to be back. I would really love to see
Both.
Eldon Henson and Deborah Ann Woll return, but we don't know if that's going to happen. But come on, Marvel. They were great people. Bring them back. Please bring them back. They were great.
Agreed.
All right, Jason, sign us out, bud.
All right. Well, we're going to head out. We'll be back at some point in the next year and a half. We're talking about the menu and some other things. I mean, sure, 2 weeks-ish. Again, we love y'all more or less. And come back for
See the
more
menu by the
insanity.
next show.
Yeah. Again, Geeky Accoutrement, Jeremy, TitanComics.com. It's all right there. Go buy stuff from him. He's awesome. They have awesome things. Enjoy. We will see y'all at some point in the future.
3 weekish, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Be kind and nice to each other.
Be excellent to each other.
I'm gonna get this right one day. Not today, though.